Welcome to the All Sports Podcast, looking to bring you the best and most entertaining podcast about sports there is around. We hope you respect our opinions as we look to respect yours. This podcast is for entertainment and analytical purposes only and made to have fun. Leave us your thoughts of our topics and comments in the comment section below. We hope you will enjoy the podcast, like the videos, and subscribe to the channel. Welcome to Conference Championship Week of this week's All Sports Podcast. My name's Jonah, of course, with my colleague Gentry. We have special guest, Mr. Gage. How you doing, brother?
Doing good.
That's good. You ready for some football this Saturday? How you doing?
Yes, sir. Always am.
Oh, yeah. Conference Championship Week is a big week. Playoffs are right around the corner. You got Selection Sunday for bowl games coming out right the day after conference championships are completed. Gentry, there's so many good championship games this week, but just really, which one kind of stands out to you the most? What is significant about that game, and to which team does it mean the most more to?
If you know me, it's all about the SEC, so yeah, I mean that's pretty self-explanatory if you know me, but most people watching this video don't. That's just my conference that I look forward to. A lot of people say the Pac-12, but in my opinion, either one of those teams, or Oklahoma, or Oregon, and the other conference that they get matched up with Ohio State, I think they just gonna get boat race. So that's mainly why I say that.
Yeah, SEC big game. Gage, again, big week. Which championship is kind of the one to look for? Which one means the most?
Well, no, the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the SEC game are all big games, because any combination of wins and losses in those games gives you a new team at the number 4 spot. Or Georgia pulls the upset off, then you have a new number 1. So it's hard to pick just one that stands out the most out of those 3.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The SEC championship is the biggest game here, but to me it's kind of about that Big 12 championship, because if Utah does get the victory, does the committee like Oklahoma or Baylor better than Utah? Or if Georgia loses, if Georgia needs to lose for the Big 12 and the Pac-12 to kind of have their shot. But obviously, to me, it's got to be SEC, because that's playoff talk all over it. Committee might keep LSU at 4 if they lose. Georgia's out if they lose. Georgia could move up, play Clemson.
That's kind of critical if they put LSU at 4 still, because that ain't going by how they've been going all year.
Yeah, very true. It's just kind of what they did in 2017 with Alabama, but
LSU's strength of schedule, you kind of got to keep them in.
Yeah, I think they're the best team. That's my opinion. Maybe somebody else's. We'll go ahead and get started with conference championships. We'll start off with the Conference USA between the UAB Blazers, and they'll visit Florida Atlantic at FAU Stadium in Boca Raton, Florida. 1:30 CBS Sports Network. Head coach Bill Clark is looking to win back-to-back conference championships for the UAB Blazers with a win over the Owls Saturday, as Florida Atlantic is looking to win their first conference championship since 2017, led by Coach Lane Kiffin. The Owls are the 7.5-point favorite, Gentry, and you know this kind of means a lot for both teams.
Yes, I'm just going to. Yeah, my prediction, I would just go with the Owls, and here's the main reason. I like Lane Kiffin. Otherwise, I don't really, to be completely honest, I don't know nothing about him. But other conferences I'm more stout with, but anyway, I don't think many people will be watching that, but that's just me, so.
Yeah, CUSA, not the biggest conference, but it's an interesting one. Gage, what are your thoughts?
I mean, FAU's got the home field advantage. Both teams are undefeated in this conference championship game, so they both only have one appearance, but they're both undefeated in it. FAU's 9-3, UAB's 9-3. The only thing that separates them is UAB has one more conference loss, so really I see it going either way. Lane Kiffin's a great coach. Really doesn't have a lot of meaning to the playoff picture, but it is still a big game for these two football programs, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going with FAU.
I think that's his last game, then he's going to head to Arkansas.
Yeah. Or Florida State.
Yeah, he could do that.
any discussions about Lane Kiffin, good coach, could find him a different spot. 1:30, CBS Sports Network at FAU Stadium. Conference USA Championship between the 9-3 UAB Blazers as they visit the 9-3 Florida Atlantic Owls. Let's move on to the MAC Conference, the Mid-American Conference Championship between the 7-5 Miami out of Ohio team against the Central Michigan 8-4 team. 12 o'clock ESPNU at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. Head coach Chuck Martin for Miami out of Ohio is looking for his team's first conference championship win since 2010, while Central Michigan is looking for their first conference championship win since 2009, led by former Florida head coach Jim McElwain. Central Michigan is the 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah. That's tough. I just had to go with Central Michigan because that's one of the teams I watch every now and then. But at the same time, I don't really watch the other team that much. So, I mean, it could go either way, but I'm just picking Central Michigan. That's just my pick. That's what I feel is going to go down. Probably win by about 2 touchdowns or so.
I'm gonna do the exact opposite of what you said. I'm picking Miami out of Ohio. Central Michigan has a turnover issue. They haven't been good at protecting the ball this year. And Miami out of Ohio has a great pass rush, one of the best in the nation, if you look at it statistically wise. And they will not let Quentin Dormandy be comfortable in the pocket in that game. They're going to be going up against a great defense, and Central Michigan is going to have to score on every opportunity. I don't see that happening because their offense has been kind of hit and miss this year. So I'm going with Miami out of Ohio.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe Central Michigan can pull it out. I think Miami out of Ohio, they do have that pretty good defense, but I think Central Michigan is going to kind of play with a little bit of fire. They haven't been there and won since 2009, so I think Jim McElwain, he's a good coach. He used to coach at Florida. I'll go with Central Michigan on that one. Moving on, kind of these games are kind of a little bit much more, so later on we'll do a little bit more predictions for these following next conference championships to close out the show before we get to conference championship. So we'll just give you little details here and there. What are our thoughts of the game? In the Mountain West Conference Championship, kickoff at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at ESPN in Albertson Stadium in Boise, Idaho. The 9-4 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors visits the 11-1 number 19 ranked Boise State Broncos, a 14-point favorite. Boise State's looking to win their second conference championship in the past 3 years and looking to avenge a loss last year at home to Fresno State in the conference championship game. As for the Rainbow Warriors, in 2015, Nick Rolovich was hired as the new head football coach at the University of Hawaii. The Rainbow Warriors moved to the Mountain West Conference in 2012, and they are making their first appearance in the Mountain West Conference championship game.
Yeah. So, I had to record this game because that comes on at the same time as the big game. So, but it's kind of tough. Who to pick here? Trying to think about it. Yeah. That's kind of a tough pick because I was looking at that today. I just had to go with freaking Hawaii on this one.
Well, it's really hard to pick here, you know. Boise State's got Jalen Henderson coming in at quarterback. Only started 3 games this year, but he's undefeated and he's playing great football. Then Broncos already beat Hawaii this year, earlier in the season. But Hawaii has a very good offense, averaging about 350 passing yards a game and 148 rushing yards per game. So it should be a pretty good game. Hard to pick and go with Boise just because they had that win earlier in the season, but I wouldn't count Hawaii out.
Boise State is the 14-point favorite, 19th ranked. They're looking for that win. They need a Cincinnati win to beat Memphis. That could put Boise State ahead of both of them and Appalachian State for the top group of 5 school. Boise State's got a lot to play for. They want to play in that Cotton Bowl. Big game there for the Broncos and the Rainbow Warriors. Moving on to the Sun Belt Conference Championship, kickoff at 12 o'clock on ESPN right after College Game Day. Game will be in Kidd Brewer Stadium in Boone, North Carolina. The 10-2 Lafayette Raging Cajuns will visit the 11-1 21st ranked Appalachian State for the second year in a row to Boone, North Carolina for the Sun Belt Conference Championship in its second game. Elijah Drinkwitz in his first year, coming off of a historic season, picking up 2 Power 5 victories over both Carolina teams, North and South Carolina, reaching historic rankings, becoming the first Sun Belt team in history to be named in the ranking of the college football playoff. App State is as well looking to pick up its 4th consecutive Sun Belt Conference Championship and 2nd consecutive Conference Championship game victory. As for the Lafayette Raging Cajuns, they are coming off of its historic season, 10-win season, and that is its first in program history. The Raging Cajuns are looking to seek revenge as they visit the Rock in Boone for a second straight year after losing in the inaugural Sun Belt Conference Championship game last year. Kind of a big game for App State. Will be a good one, I can promise you that.
Yes, I just got App State in this one because I've watched them on and off this year, but I've watched a good bit of their game, especially the South Carolina game. It just made SEC look bad, but that's not the topic we'll talk about here, but that's for another time. But I think they can pull it out, especially since they got home field advantage and they've been rocking it this year, even though they got upset by Georgia Southern, but you always got to bounce back.
Well, App State won their first meeting of the season because of Akeem Davis-Gaither being an animal on defense, Lafayette loves that run game. He kind of shut it down for them. But Levi Lewis played great last week for Lafayette, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns in the passing game. I think App State will be able to hold them in the run game. Not kill them. I think they'll have at least 100 yards or more, but they'll kind of shut it down for Lafayette standards. But I feel like game will come down to field goals. App State hasn't really been great on the field goals this year. Lafayette a little bit better. I don't think App State will capitalize on all their opportunities, and I think Lafayette's going to pull out the upset.
Yeah, I was about to say that App State isn't that good of a field goal kicking team.
Appalachian State, historic 11-1 Season 2 Power 5 victories. Their first Power 5 victory since picking up the win in the Big House against 5th-ranked Michigan in 2007. But Sun Belt Coach of the Year, Bill Napier, and his 10-2 Raging Cajuns, that's a good football team. I've checked out both of these teams all year as Georgia Southern loses to Lafayette, but picked up that big win in Boone, North Carolina, giving Appalachian State that one little blemish on the record and possibly preventing them.
Throw it in.
And possibly preventing them from going to the Cotton Bowl. Even though I hate App State from the bottom of my heart, I don't think anything's stopping this team. They're playing with fire. This is a really good football team. They can beat anybody on any given day, on their best day, and I think they'll pull out the victory over Lafayette in a close one in Boone, North Carolina. The big Group of 5 Conference Championship kicks off at 3:30 on ABC at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. The American Athletic Conference Championship, the 10-2 number 20th ranked Cincinnati will visit 11-1 17th ranked Memphis Tigers for the second week in a row as head coach Mike Norvell looking to pick up the second consecutive victory against the Bearcats of Cincinnati over Luke Fickell. Cincinnati is making their first ever appearance in the American Athletic Conference Championship game and looking to win their first conference championship since becoming co-champions with their opponent for this week, actually the Memphis Tigers. Memphis, on the other hand, is looking to avenge their loss last year after losing to UCF in the championship game. Both teams here are fighting for a spot in the New Year's Six Bowl game, the Cotton Bowl, by becoming the highest-ranked Group of 5 school in the nation.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a revenge clinic for Memphis because they got some athletes over there. I watch that team from time to time. But on the side note, on the last topic, wonder what App State would be ranked if they didn't lose. They'd probably be in the top 15. But yeah, I got Memphis in that one probably by like, we don't have to do score predictions. I'm just doing it for some of them just out of to look back on. But I got them by a field goal.
This is the 3rd year in a row Memphis going to this game. They had a great season so far. Brady White's playing excellent for them. for Memphis, and I think he's just going to have another big game over Cincinnati, secure the win. Don't think it'll be much of a problem for Memphis in this one.
Memphis has always been a good team. They've always kind of stayed in that mid-10 area, about 15, 17, 18, behind UCF, however. This year they knocked down UCF. They pushed them out the way, and it's all Memphis from here on out. I think that they're playing for that Cotton Bowl. They're at their place. They've already beat this team one time this year. They beat them last week. And it'll be a close one. Memphis is the 9-point favorite, but the Tigers will just, I think they'll again outscore the Bearcats in a shootout. Moving on to the Power 5 conferences. Beginning with the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. That kicks off at 7:30 on ABC in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. The 9-3 number 23rd ranked Cavaliers will be the away team as they face the 12-0 third-ranked Clemson Tigers. And again, Clemson for the sixth time this year, I think I saw, is over 28, but they are a 28.5-point favorite. Coach Bronco Mendenhall for Virginia is coming off of a historic season, winning its first division title in school history and looking for its first conference championship since becoming co-champions with Florida State back in 1995. Virginia made the college football playoffs rankings for the first time, being ranked at number 23 in the December 3rd college football playoffs ranking show. The Clemson Tigers is looking for its 28th consecutive victory and its 5th straight conference championship, as well as its 5th straight college football playoff. Led by Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, the Tigers are a heavy favorite against the newly ranked Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah, I know it's all about win-loss record. That's how they determine the two in the final conference game on both sides. But that'd be very interesting instead of the Cavaliers if it was the Tar Heels. But yeah, Clemson's pretty much gonna destroy this team probably by about 4.5 touchdowns or so. Trevor Lawrence probably throw some dots, get some yardage up, might even go around, I don't know, might even hit the 500 mark. That might be being too confident in them, but yeah, that's my prediction. I just feel like Clemson's gonna manhandle them.
No, Virginia has a good pass rush, but it is not enough to get the job done. Clemson is primed right now. They're peaking at a perfect point. Trevor Lawrence playing his best football he's played, I think, in his whole entire college career. Completed 18 passes in a row last week. He's playing great. Travis Etienne. I know he doesn't get touches like Jonathan Taylor and Dobbins, but he makes the most of them, averaging like 8 yards a carry. And the defense doesn't get any love, but they are playing championship caliber. They lead the nation in scoring defense, only allowing 10 points per game. And they're number 2 in total yards of offense. So, no, this game will not be close. Clemson will just keep on building their resume up for their playoffs. And I think they'll get in easily at a number 2 or number 3 spot, depending on what happens. Clemson will win.
Dabo Swinney, a great head coach. I respect him and what he's done with this Clemson program. Clemson has dominated again for 27 consecutive games. They went into Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, took on Alabama, and big boy Nick Saban and Trevor Lawrence just came out of nowhere and straight up manhandled the Alabama defense. No Alabama this year. They are moved down to rank number 12 in the college football playoff rankings.
Thank God.
So no more. So Clemson and Alabama will not be happening this year. And, well, Clemson is fighting for that spot back into the championship. Virginia, a really good football team. You can't sleep on them, but, again, like Gage said, this Clemson team is just too good for Virginia Cavaliers this time. I think they'll pick up that 28th consecutive victory and the 5th straight conference championship in a very, very easy and handling fashion. Gage, if Clemson does make it out of this game, what's your ideal matchup here? What do you want for the Tigers, considering all the conference championships going on and the ending college football playoff rankings?
Honestly, I don't I don't see the whole first round bye thing with you playing a Utah or something. I feel like every team, especially Utah will be playing with a different edge if they get into the number 4 spot. They haven't been there yet. They'll be excited to play. I think every team is fully capable of coming out there and winning the football game in the playoffs. So I don't see, nothing's ideal. Every game is going to be hard fought. So whatever happens with the games happens, rankings happen. I see Clemson finishing at 2 or 3. I know Ohio State's going to pull out the win in their game against Wisconsin, but they'll stay at number 1. LSU probably going to stay at 2. We'll probably stay at 3. Doesn't matter. We'll play LSU first. Don't matter.
Most likely Utah's probably going to be number 4 because I couldn't see them unless it's like a blowout, unless Baylor destroys Oklahoma or vice versa. They can't just hop them when they're like 6 and 7 and Utah's 5th, but never know with that.
You never know with the playoff committee. The playoff committee can change things up real quick. They might want to see Ohio State Clemson in round 1. They might want to, this is with an LSU win now, but LSU wins, they might move LSU up to 1. They might get a Clemson-Ohio State matchup, or they could keep the Tigers to play each other in the round 1. There's so many things. Anything can happen, like Gage said. However, Clemson, again, a good football team, and you don't see any troubles for them until we get to the playoffs, especially for this week against the Virginia Cavaliers. In Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California, on Friday, December 6th, actually tomorrow night, 8 p.m. ABC. The Pac-12 Conference Championship will take place between the 10-2, 13th-ranked Oregon Ducks, as the host team will be the 5th-ranked Utah Utes, 11-1. Utah is a 6.5-point favorite. Mario Cristobal and the Oregon Ducks are making their first Pac-12 championship game appearance since being led by Marcus Mariota and the runner-up team in 2014. Losing to the Auburn Tigers. Oregon has no shot at the playoffs, but can stir things up with a victory over the Utes of Utah. And Utah is fighting for a college football playoff spot with a loss of the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC Championship. They are also looking to avenge their loss from last year, losing 10-3 to the Washington Huskies. They are also looking for their first conference championship since 2008, when they had a perfect season as a part of the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah, so I didn't mean for this to be this way coming in, but I just looked at some stats today, thought about it real hard. Might get called a clown for this, but I just see Oregon winning this because of their star quarterback they have. He hasn't been himself the last couple games, but all he needs is the spotlight, and he just needs to get his feet back under him. I think he can do it, pull off the upset, and stir it up a little bit. I don't know really what they need to do specifically, but they just need to give the offense as much time as possible, because I know Utah's got an elite defense, but I think Mr. Herbert's an elite talent. So
No, Tyler Huntley for Utah is playing very great football. He's very accurate. And Oregon is no stranger to this game. They've been, I don't even know how many years now. It's like they're always in there. Both teams got a great playmaker at quarterback, but I think Utah's defense is the difference maker. They're ready, excited to be back in this game. I mean, I just got Utah pulling out the win in this one.
And that's a correction to that runner-up team in 2014. They lost to Ohio State in the championship game. That's my fault. That was led by Ezekiel Elliott. But Oregon, they lost their first game to Auburn. Bo Nix went down and led that game-winning drive against the Ducks.
Threw a horrible pass, and the receiver caught it.
The Ducks, I mean, they come back. They're 10-2. They've had a great season. I mean, nothing to fault them. 13 is not bad, but it's not where they want to be. They kind of felt good about their playoff hopes with Justin Herbert, but the 3-point loss to the Arizona State Sun Devils, that hurts them 31-28 loss. That puts them out. I mean, heck, we could have a 4-team playoff race if Georgia loses to LSU between Oklahoma, Baylor, Oregon, and Utah, but just didn't fall Oregon's way this year, going 10-2. Still a 10-win season, regular season. As for me, Justin Herbert, I respect his talent. He's a great quarterback, but Utah's on a mission, and they want to be recognized. The Pac-12 is just disrespected by the analyst, the College Football Playoff Committee. Utah wants to put the Pac-12 in the College Football Playoffs for the first time since Oregon made it, and the Pac-12 just needs something. That comes with an Oregon loss and a Utah win. So it's going to be a close one. I don't know how it's going to end up. It might be a shootout. Utah's defense is great, but in the end, number 5 Utah will get this victory and will put themselves in a spot to make the playoffs to face probably the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Moving on to the Big Ten Conference Championship that will kick off at 8 o'clock on Fox, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. The 10-2, number 8 Wisconsin Badgers will play the designated host team, 12-0, number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are a 16.5-point favorite, led by head coach Ryan Day. As for Wisconsin, they come off of a big victory. Paul Christ and his ain't-ranked Badgers took up the victory over Minnesota and knocked them out of the playoffs and take their spot at number 8. I would love to say that Minnesota has a chance to make the playoffs, but with Oklahoma and Baylor and Utah at the 5, 6, and 7, one of them is going to make the playoffs. All Wisconsin can do is hurt Ohio State and possibly move them out. But they're looking for their first Big Ten Conference Championship win since 2012, as well as looking to avenge their 38-7 loss earlier in the season, just demoralizing that defense. The defense was a top defense earlier in the season, giving up the fewest amount of points early on. They are also looking to seek revenge from losing in the 2017 Big Ten Championship game against the Buckeyes. Ohio State, however, is looking for its 3rd consecutive conference championship, as well as trying to get back into the college football playoffs for the first time since winning it in 2014 and their only playoff appearance. A win over Wisconsin would most likely keep the Buckeyes at the number 1 spot for the playoffs. A loss, however, could force some trouble for the college football playoff committee. Could they keep Ohio State in at 4 with the Utah? If Utah and Oklahoma or Baylor win, there's just what-if situations there. Does Ohio State go to 4 if Utah and the Big 12 champion win? It's just an Ohio State loss shakes everything up.
Yeah, everybody talks about Clemson's schedule. They have the 2nd worst. Ohio State has the 2nd worst in the conversation right now. Or top 4. So, yeah, their schedule is not too good neither. I mean, they got Michigan and Wisconsin, but yeah. But in this game, I just see Ohio State doing their thing. Justin Fields, I expect him to have like 150 yards on the ground, at least 300 yards through the air. Chase Young probably get 2 sacks. And disclaimer, I don't really think he's all that. I mean, is he really that much better than Jadeveon Clowney was back in the day? Is he really that much better than David Pollack used to be at Georgia? I mean, is he really that much better than Roquan Smith? I don't think so. But yeah, like he's the best thing that ever existed. So I don't really think he's that good when Ohio State makes the playoff, because I'm pretty sure they are. I think he's going to get bottled up. Same thing I think about J.K. Dobbins, though. I think he's pretty good, though. I give him his credit. But he does get a lot of carries, though, compared to, like, Swift and Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne. He gets, like, the most carries in the nation. So, well, not in the nation, but out of the top talented schools. But, yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, Ohio State's first in scored points per game. Their defense is great. They're 4th in scoring averages, 4th lowest. J.K. Dobbins, really good running back. I feel like he's going to have a big game this week. Justin Fields is Justin Fields. He's going to kill you with his arm. He'll kill you with his feet. He'll have a big game, too. Really, the key to a Wisconsin upset, Taylor's gonna be stuffed. Jack Combs got to get that passing game going. They got to start it early and quick. See if they can expose the Ohio State secondary, because I feel like the defense is all the pass rush. I feel like the secondary is weak. So
Yeah, I
if
forgot to say
somebody
that.
can just dot them up, might not
Jonathan
have
Taylor's
long
not
back
getting
there.
100 yards, so they're going to have to find something else.
Yep, just get that passing game going. I think they might have the upset here. But we'll see what happens. I feel like Ohio State is going to get it. I don't think Wisconsin's the team to do it through there.
Wisconsin picks up that big win over Minnesota. They got the Paul Bunyan's axe again. I just don't know. This Ohio State team is just as good as I believe LSU is. I think LSU is the top team in the nation, in my opinion. Both of these teams I would like to see in the playoffs just for the game purpose. Meet up at some point. Wisconsin, they could play with a little fire in them, maybe. Jonathan Taylor could spark up a little Heisman type game. I just don't see it though with Ohio State and J.K. Dobbins. I think they're playing with fire. They're 12-0. Ryan Day has got that offense rolling, and the Buckeyes are a 16.5-point favorite for a reason. And I think they'll roll into Indianapolis, take care of business, and walk out with a college football playoff spot in their back pocket. At 12 o'clock on ABC and AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, the Big 12 Conference Championship will take place between the 11-1 7th-ranked Baylor Bears, as the 6th-ranked Oklahoma 11-1 team will be the designated home team. Oklahoma is a 9-point favorite. Matt Rhule and the Baylor Bears are looking to win their Big 12 Conference Championship since winning it outright in 2013, led by Heisman winner Robert Griffin III. A win here and a Utah loss to Oregon and an LSU victory over Georgia almost solidifies a college football playoff spot for the Bears. This would be their first playoff appearance in program history if all the dominoes fall correctly. As for the Sooners and Lincoln Riley, they are looking to make it to the third consecutive playoffs with a win and a Utah and Georgia loss. They are also looking to win their fifth consecutive outright Big 12 Conference Championship in a row. This is not a part of the playoffs, but this just has playoff game written all over. You have number 7, number 6. With the talks of the expansion of the playoffs, games like this one are really the expanded playoff games. So much is on the line for a bunch of teams, and it relates to this game right here because of it. Yeah, Utah could get the win, but honestly, the winner of this almost has as much of a guaranteed spot with a Georgia loss as Utah.
Yeah, so I think Oklahoma's going to win this one. It'll be close scoring game. Be mostly, I don't know, I think Baylor's defense can show up early, but it's not going to hold up because Jalen Hurts is an elite talent. I don't know about his pro career, though, but I think he can turn it around. Just look at Lamar Jackson, but he's just going to have to cut down his rushing carries because today, if I remember correctly, I had told Gage that Jalen Hurts has more yards on the ground than DeAndre Swift. But, yeah, so you got to watch out for him. And Oklahoma always has great receivers. Baylor's defense can only do so much, so I see Oklahoma winning this one. And Jalen Hurts having one of the best games of his career.
No, this is going to be fun to watch. You got a great offense led by Jalen Hurts versus a great defense from Baylor. I feel like Baylor Bears just got to come out and baffle Oklahoma in the first quarter, force some turnovers. I think if they come out, win the turnover margin, I think they're underrated. Their defense is super underrated. I think it'll hold. I think Baylor will sneak out with the W here.
I like the Baylor Bears, but Jalen Hurts and Oklahoma's offense is just it's just insane. They're the number 1, if not number 2 offense in the nation up there with LSU. And they're just throwing the ball around. Jalen Hurts is using his feet. I mean, they average 564 yards a game. That's just insane. They average 44.3 points a game. Their defense is okay, gives up 24.7. As for Baylor, I like this Baylor team. They were up 25 against this Oklahoma team. Baylor could be 12-0 right now and in the 5 spot right behind Georgia from the outside looking in. They were up by 25 against Oklahoma one time. They're looking to do it again, except this time hold it off. They have a better defense, as Gage said, only 18.4 points against them average-wise. Oklahoma's the 9-point favorite here. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff. I think it's whoever wants it more will go out and give a spark early on in the first quarter, first half. Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma is good, but Baylor again is playing with fire. I don't know who's going to win this game, but I would like to see the Baylor Bears pick up the victory over the Boomer Sooners and Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, anything can happen, but I don't see Baylor winning after being that close to winning the game up 25. I just think Jalen Hurts has their number now, and Lincoln Riley is too much of an offensive guru to go down like that again, even though that's on the defense, because everybody knows Oklahoma's on one side of the football team.
I mean, very, very true. Their defense has kind of stepped up a couple times, but Oklahoma's just that team. The committee loves them, honestly. They've been
Stood
kind
up
of high.
against a terrible no first down call. I don't know if you remember that or not. Dude crossed the line. I forgot who they played. Dude crossed the line. They could have ran the clock out if they would have got the first down. They could have ran the clock out. He crossed the line, and the official went blind, and they dragged him back. Didn't count as forward progress. Marked them 3 yards short on 4th and 1. And 3rd and 1. A couple weeks ago, I forgot who they played. Drawing a blank.
Did they win?
Yeah, they won because they got the ball back and had time to punch it in.
Oh, okay. Golly.
It might have been Iowa State.
Might have been.
I think they took care of Iowa State. I don't know.
Hold on, I can tell you.
Could have been. I think it might have been TCU
Yeah, it was.
or Iowa State. Yeah, because Iowa State missed the PAT and lost 42-41. Though, but I think you're talking about TCU.
It was TCU.
Yeah, the Horned Frogs of Texas
Yes,
Christian
I don't
University.
know. I said that about Oregon, but if Utah wins, they're the most deserving team because they actually got a complete football team. I don't know if I want to see Oklahoma again. It's the same story every year. They make it that far, and then their defense is utter trash. I'm just being honest at this point.
Yeah, Utah's been very fortunate with their quarterbacks the past 3 seasons. Heisman winner Baker Mayfield playing for the Browns, and last year Kyler Murray was just amazing. Now they have Jalen Hurts this year, who's doing it all, just as Kyler Murray was, except he's bigger, he can run stronger. He's not as fast as Murray, but he's a dang good quarterback. Oklahoma's a good team, but I just like Baylor in this matchup, in my opinion. Last but not least, we got the big one, the Southeastern Conference Championship, kickoff at 4 p.m. on CBS, playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. The 11-1, 4th-ranked Georgia Dogs will be the designated away team, as the 12-0, second-ranked LSU Tigers will be the home team. LSU is a 6.5-point favorite, and they're looking good. Honestly, my favorite to win out the season, but only time will tell. Kirby Smart and the Georgia Dogs are making their 3rd straight appearance to the SEC Championship. Last time winning it in 2017 when they defeated the Auburn Tigers and getting the revenge win after losing in Jordan-Hare that year. Georgia is also looking to make the playoffs for the first time since 2017, and a win here secures their playoff spot no matter what. But a loss will put them right back into the Sugar Bowl against either Oklahoma or Baylor, depending on where the college football playoff lies. As for Ed Orgeron's LSU Tigers, LSU is looking to win their first conference championship title since 2011 when under the direction of Les Miles. With the win over the Bulldogs, this puts LSU in the running for their first national title since Les Miles coached for them in 2007 and won the title. This will also be LSU's first college football playoff appearance.
Yeah, so I'm just about to go in real quick with multiple points here. So, alright, I don't even know where to start with this game. I just want to talk about, let me get the bad stuff out of the way first about LSU. I don't think their defense is that good at all. But, because everybody wants to talk about how they but they held them like 7, Texas A&M. That's not a good offensive football team with Kellen Mond in the backfield. I think that's a good football team, but Kellen Mond is not a good quarterback, so that's kind of your explanation there. And then, I don't know, you just give up like 400 yards in Ole Miss. I don't even know anybody. I mean, that's mainly my own fault. I don't even know any great stars on that team besides the tight end and a wide receiver. And, yeah, so I think that's the key. Jake Fromm just gotta throw with him over the middle. Gotta throw the back shoulder phase. You just gotta, if Swift's playing, you gotta throw to him. But see, LSU's offense, that's why everybody's writing the Bulldogs off. I understand that. Joe Burrow is putting up like video game numbers, like Madden is playing in the background. He's just putting up those type of numbers. About to break the percentage record. And all like through the whole NCAA. Already tied Drew Lock for touchdowns. I mean, I don't know what else he needs to do to prove his dominance. He's the Heisman in my mind, no matter what happens. But the key players you gotta watch out in this game for LSU. You know what? I don't even know how I forgot that because I just looked at my notes. I'm trying to think of the receiver, but he leads the nation in touchdown catches. I know.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's him. Georgia just gotta lock him up. They put J.R. Reed on him. I'm not worried about it. J.R. Reed's one of my favorite players in Georgia history, so I like him a lot. And Richard LeCounte, he may be small, but he got some bite to him. He can do a lot of things. I think that's the guy you gotta watch out for in the turnover department for LSU. You gotta watch out for him. But in my opinion, this whole game just comes down to one man. I know football is the hardest sport to play because so many men have to do their job every single play, every single down, every single minute. But I think it's mainly going to come down to Jake Fromm and if he lives up to his potential or not. As everybody, including myself, want to call him below average and all this and talk crap about him, but he's got the potential. As far as next level, I'm not sure about that, but I think he was elite his freshman year. I don't know why he lost his mojo, but I think he can find it. He's always been elite in these games for the most part. He has had turnover troubles from time to time, but the main problem really is you couldn't get that final score. That's going to be the big thing. Kirby, all he wants to say is defense gets tired, but you're going to have to get that first down. You're going to have to get that field goal or that touchdown. You're just going to have to get it because that LSU offense is going to break that defense eventually. It's not going to hold up the whole time. I don't care what you do, but I think the key number for Georgia on defense would be to hold them under 30 because I'm thinking it's greatly possible, even with George Pickens out for the half and Cager out for the season. It's looking like even if Georgia was to pull off the major upset, I think he's done for the season with an ACL injury. And Swift, I'm assuming he'll play, even if he don't get many touches. I got great confidence in Brian Harrion and James Cook. Those guys. James Cook hasn't got many touches, but he's got the potential to speed back like his brother. But the key to Georgia winning, just to wrap this up, I think they gotta get at least 2 turnovers. and the first quarter is the big key. They got to score at least 2 touchdowns, I would say. And if they get down late, that the most I'd say they could get down and still win is by about 2 touchdowns. If they get down by more than that, I don't see them coming back, even though that defense is great. I just don't know. I don't know. Georgia hasn't seen a team like this all year, so it's either make or break. But I think all my faith is in the defense, but the main guy, like I said earlier, it all comes down to Drake Fromm once again. I mean, he knows about the big moments, what he did in high school, what he did in the Little League World Series. I mean, he's been doing this forever. He just got to put his faith in God and put his faith in his game, and he can do it. No limits. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
I think Georgia definitely has a superior O-line and D-line to LSU's. You know, Jake Fromm, I think he's going to be calm. It's his 3rd time in this game. Different opponent, but he's been here before. But the big thing is, people that aren't playing, Swift, he might play, he's not going to be 100%. You might see Kirby Call plays around him, so he don't have to use that shoulder. Lawrence Cager, like you said, he's out. That was their best receiver as far as getting open. That's Georgia's main problem this year. Their receivers can't get open off of man coverage. And then Pickens, he was their leading receiver in stats. He's out for the first half.
Yeah, I think Lawrence Cager was comparable with A.J. Green for that stretch, but he can't do nothing now because he's out for the first half. I mean, not the first half, for the season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Georgia, you have to do everything right to beat this team. And they've already started off on a bad note with Pickens last week. You know, that was a mistake, not just that game, this game too. Now, you got to face Joe Burrow, who's been outstanding this year. 78% completion, super high, super accurate. Great receivers, Jamar Chase, what's his name? Jefferson.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
You know, Georgia's secondary is too passive to force them turnovers. They're not great at forcing the turnovers. Georgia has to score almost every time they're on the field, and I don't see them getting it done behind Coley and Fromm. Their offense, I just don't see it doing it. I just think they won't have enough offense to win this one.
Yeah, I don't know how many times, even if they do the excellent game plan to somehow score almost every time or every other drive and keep themselves in the game, if they go passive again, they're gonna freaking lose. I'm so tired of it. I don't know how many times they gonna do that crap. They go in like a prevent defense and just give it up. And if Joe Burrow sees that, he's going to throw one ball, one pass, 5 seconds off the clock. They already scored again. The way that offense goes, I've never seen anything like that, because that Baker Mayfield or the Kyler Murray or the Jalen, the only guy I could really compare him to, when I think about it, is almost like, as far as the explosiveness, would be like, dude, that's a tough one. Almost like, I mean, this might be a stretch. I don't know if it is, given this season, but he reminds me of Tim Tebow in a way, because I mean, he's a bigger body. He's not like a smaller quarterback, so he can take the hits and the licks, and he's not afraid of it. But main thing with him is you just got to try to get pressure to him. I think Nolan Smith can do that. I think Richard LeCounte can do that. They just got to send him on a little safety blitz. I trust Kirby defensively, but the one thing I don't trust him with is his passive play calling in the second half and his bonehead trick plays. If he tries another one of them, Georgia might as well just go ahead and get back on the plane. But yeah.
LSU having a big time season. Finally pick up that win after 8 years, I believe, to Alabama. Ed Orgeron has got the Tigers rolling once again. Georgia, they had the blemish of South Carolina, but my thing behind that is it's a conference game. I don't see it as an upset. it's a conference loss, but I mean Georgia just didn't play as they were supposed to in that game, and for the Dogs to pick up the victory, as Gage said, you got to kind of have to play a perfect game. You got to give Joe Burrow the pressure he hasn't felt all season. You got to give him, you got to shake him up a little bit. The Dogs can do it, but LSU is my team to win it this year, and I don't see what's stopping them in this SEC championship. And I think they'll pick their first SEC title up since 2011 in this year's title game. We've talked all conferences. We've kind of put our little predictions here and there, but let's get one more. We'll give you one more final recap of how we think conference championship week to go before we close out the show. In the Conference USA, you got the 9-3 UAB Blazers and the 9-3 Florida Atlantic Owls. Gentry, what's your pick here?
The Owls. Yeah.
Engage, what's your pick?
The Owls.
They're going with Owls. I'm going to go with the Blazers. I think that they can get the job done and get the upset in FAU Stadium. I like the Blazers in this matchup. For the MAC Conference, the Mid-American Conference Championship, Miami out of Ohio at 7-5. Central Michigan, the designated home team. What's the picks here?
Central Michigan.
I'm going with Miami out of Ohio.
I'll go with Jim McElwain and Central Michigan as they are the 6.5-point favorite. Both teams kind of on the low end of the records, but they both made it to their respective conference championship game. But I'll go with Jim McElwain and Central Michigan. Moving on to the Mountain West Conference Championship between the 9-4 Hawaii Rainbow Warriors and the 11-1 19th ranked Boise State Broncos.
Let's go ahead. Thinking about this one again. I'm still gonna go with my original pick and go with Hawaii.
I'm gonna go with Boise State. I think it'll be a fun one, but I think Jalen Henderson will have a big game. I think Boise State's gonna pull it out. They already beat Hawaii this year. I think they'll just do it again.
I'm gonna have to agree with that one there. Boise State is the best Group of 5 team. I honestly think they could move to the Pac-12. I think they could compete in the Pac-12. This is a good football program. I like what they're doing up there in Boise, Idaho. Boise State, I believe, will pick up the victory over the Rainbow Warriors in the Mountain West Conference Championship. Moving on to the Sun Belt Conference Championship, kickoff at 12 on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm just going with App State. I don't think they'll dominate necessarily, but they'll win.
I'm going with Lafayette with the upset.
I hate to pull for App State. I hate Lafayette. I don't care for neither of these teams. Lafayette having an amazing season, 10-2, and App State doing App State things, 11-1, 2 Power 5 victories. The game's played in the Rock. I want Lafayette to win this game, but from an analytical pick, I'm going to go with the Hillbillies of App State as they look to continue their historic season. Moving on to the biggest Group of 5 conference championship, the American Athletic Conference Championship between the 10-2 Cincinnati Bearcats and the 11-1 17th ranked Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, let's go with Memphis because of their athletes they have.
I'm going to go with Memphis. They've been great these past 3 years. Building a great program up there. I think Brady White's going to have another big game. Memphis is going to bring it home.
I like Memphis in this matchup as well. I'm going to have to go with them. They got UCF out of the way. That's kind of been their Achilles heel is UCF, and they don't have to worry about them. They get another game against the Bearcats. It'll be closer than the first game. It usually is in a rematch type games. But I'm going to stick with the Tigers and Memphis. In the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship game, 7:30 ABC, kickoff at Bank America Stadium. Charlotte, North Carolina, the 9-3, 23rd ranked Virginia Cavaliers take on the 12-0, 3rd ranked Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, that's just the easiest pick of this whole video. That's just Clemson to me.
We're going out in the orange breeches, and we're bringing it home. Clemson, baby.
I'm going to pick Clemson as well. Dabo Swinney, I like him. I respect him. They should have no issue here.
He's a crybaby. I mean, they literally won like 28 straight games, and he's still complaining about the committee. All you got to do is do what you did last year. don't worry about what those people that pick the teams. Don't even worry about that. Just do your thing. Keep doing what you're doing, because he knows what he's doing. They've won almost 30 straight games. I mean, there's no reason to start complaining now. You're literally 12-0, probably about to boat race Virginia. I mean, I don't get why he said that this past Saturday, but yeah.
Again, I picked Clemson. I like Dabo. They'll get the 28th consecutive victory against the Cavaliers. Moving on to a more crucial game, college football playoff-wise, the Pac-12 Conference Championship, taking on tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on ABC, Friday, December 6th.
Yeah,
Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. The 10-2, 13th ranked Oregon Ducks will take on the 11-1 college football playoff seeking number 5th ranked Utah Utes. What's the pick?
Yeah, I got Oregon, as I said before, just because of Mr. Justin Herbert.
I'm going with Utah. I want to see them in there.
I kind of like Utah here, too. I kind of want to see them in there, kind of shake up the playoffs a little bit. Oregon's kind of shooken up by the season, honestly. They're not where they want to be. They had pre-Heisman favorite Justin Herbert, and it just didn't go their way. And I think Utah's ready to go in and take care of business. Moving on to the Big Ten Conference Championship, kickoff at 8 o'clock on Fox, Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis, Indiana. The 10-2 8th ranked Wisconsin Badgers take on the 12-0 first ranked Ohio State Buckeyes.
So I got Ohio State just because Justin Fields. I mean, I know he's a winner. Hurts my heart he's not at the University of Georgia, but that's past now. Can't do nothing about it. But yeah, Chase Young will show out, Dobbins will show out, and I think as me and Gabe said earlier, Jonathan Taylor get bottled up.
Gotta go with Ohio State, one of the best teams in the nation right now. I feel like them LSU and Clemson is just a tie for first. Can't go against them in this game.
I completely agree. 16.5 point favorite. I think it'll be a little bit more than that once we conclude that game. Wisconsin is looking for some revenge, but I don't see anybody stopping Ohio State. Just Justin Fields and J.K. Dobbins. Defense might give up some points, but Ryan Day and the Buckeyes can feel pretty confident about making it back into the playoffs. Big 12 Conference Championship at 12 o'clock on ABC AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The 11-1 7th-ranked Baylor Bears take on the 11-1 6th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma in that one. Just out of my faith in Jalen Hurts and the offensive guru Lincoln Riley. And plus Baylor, I don't see them getting over that, what's the word here? Kind of like that spell they have on them after they give up that 25-point lead.
I'm going with Baylor. They got up 28-3 before they can do it again. I feel like there's going to be a lot of turnovers by Oklahoma in this game. Baylor will capitalize. I'm going with the Bears.
It's hard for me to pick against Oklahoma. That's a dang good football team Lincoln Riley's got over there. I just don't. I think that Baylor. I like Baylor here, even though Oklahoma I believe is the better team. But I just like this game. I think the Baylor Bears can pick up the win and cast away that awful 28-3 loss. And the big one at 4 o'clock on CBS, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. The Southeastern Conference Championship game between the 11-1 4th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs and the 12-0 2nd-ranked LSU Tigers. What are the picks?
Yeah, I'm going with Georgia. That's no surprise if you know me, but I just seen where the SEC page said that Georgia's going to lose 27-17. If they hold LSU to 27 points, they're winning that football game. I don't see how they're not. Because if that's the case, then that means they got momentum. And if Georgia, I mean, my opinion, if they get anywhere within 58 yards, that's field goal range for the best field goal kicker in the nation. So, yeah. I mean, that's easy. But, big thing everybody wants to point at is how the defense is great, but as far as like in the turnover margin for Georgia, it's not great at all. It's kind of like average. Like it's not gonna force turnovers, but I think Georgia get at least one turnover in this game, and that'll be a difference game. I could see Georgia winning like I could see Georgia winning like 30-27. Rodrigo to ice the game.